100,000 on a beat.
All right, hello everyone, and welcome back into the first edition of the Berkeley Football Coaches Show for the 2025 season, along with Coach Eric Lodge. I am Lane Wofford, presented by Stokes Chevrolet. Coach, before we jump into the highlights of the first game, it is the first game of the 2025 season, coming off a third-round playoff exit last year. I don't want to say exit's not the right terminology. We made it to the third round of the playoffs last year. So how are you looking to go even further? What do you think we're going to improve on this season coming in?
You know, obviously we're looking to build on the success that we've had and make a deeper run. I think that we're much physically stronger. We're more mentally mature, and that's really the main area where I think that we can improve is our maturity and kind of the way we carry ourselves. We don't have the excuse that we're young anymore and we didn't know or that we've never been there. So I expect us to conduct ourselves a little bit better and more like winners. And the kids definitely expect to win. And I think as we get into these highlights here, I think it kind of showed itself on Monday night.
A lot of people back this year. Defensively, it seems like almost everybody's back that played a lot for you last year. Offensively, you've got Henry Rivers, obviously, who's back. Even though he's only a junior, third-year starter, everybody that carried the football for you is back from last year. A lot of linemen are back. We're missing receivers. You've got to replace that. But, out of the starting 22, you got a lot back.
Yeah, we don't really have any weak holes out there, once we got all 22 starters going, and then we've got some really good, capable guys right behind them. Obviously not the most depth in the world, but that's high school football for you, So, you got to have a little fortune break your way. If you can stay healthy, the ball bounce your way a couple times in some tight games, and I think you can put a really special season together.
And somebody will see several highlights from this season, I'm sure, is you've got yourself a really good place kicker as well this year.
Yeah, like I said, everybody we're throwing out there, can get the job done, and we have a lot of confidence in.
Okay, well, the Stags got rained out on Friday night, so had to play some Monday Night Football over at Ashley Ridge, and we're going to go ahead and dive into the first half highlights here. The Stags won the toss and deferred, so Ashley Ridge starts with the ball here in the first half, Coach.
Yep, here we come. This is the second down to open the game. In this highlight here, you see us, we kind of get out of our rushing lanes. We got to do a little bit better job than that, but really good pursuit to the ball by Marcus Henderson, able to get them to a third down. We were able to get off the field here to open the game.
The Stags get the ball, but we're not able to do much, and then we have to give the ball right back to Ashley Ridge.
Yeah, we moved the ball down the field some. We missed a couple blocks, on this first drive here that I think really kind of hurt us. But we didn't panic. We still had confidence in what we were trying to do in the scheme, and we knew that if we stuck with it and we just clean up some of those mistakes, we'd be fine.
So the Swamp Fox is back with the ball, and they get a big play here, kind of catch you in a blitz a little bit.
Yeah, so they catch us in a zone dog. Multiple mistakes on this play here alone. We got two players in the same gap on where we're actually bringing our zone dog from, and then our middle linebacker here dips up underneath a block that he should be trying to knock back to the pressure, and you see this hole open up pretty big here. And this player, their running back, is very special, really fast kid, and when you give him that much space, he's gonna put it in the end zone.
So Ashley Ridge jumps out to a 7-0 lead, and Stags get the ball back here. Going to try to tie this one up.
Here we go. We get the ball back. We're driving down. We put a couple first downs together. Put a good run here. Get us to a manageable down. We end up kind of stalling out, getting to a 4th down right here at the very beginning of the game. You're kind of in that zone where it's like, okay, I don't know if I want to punt exactly here. It's a little bit too far for us to try a field goal. We kind of kicked that idea around, like you said, Rylan, Kerwin, he's got a very strong leg, but this is about the edge of his range.
Yeah.
So we decided to go for it. We draw up, we had a pretty good play, we felt like, in our pocket. Luckily here, Henry is able to kind of buy enough time on this end, and you see we got 3 guys wide open right there, so able to put that in the end zone.
So this is the sophomore, Elijah Mitchell, with the catch and the touchdown here. Which we didn't know it at the time, but this is pretty much the bulk of your passing yards all night right here on this one play.
Yeah, sometimes you have so much success in the run game that it's hard to get out of it.
Yeah. So Stag's able to tie it at 7 here in the first quarter, and now Ashley Ridge with the ball again.
Yep, here they go. We flush the quarterback. We do a good job of getting pressure on him. Again, we're bringing some pressure and getting his face, make him make a throw under duress. Cam McHugh is right there, heads up play to get the interception.
Yeah, big pick for the Stags there, deep in Ashley Ridge territory. Going to set you up with a chance to take the lead here.
There you go. You see the O-line getting really good movement on the defensive line. Kinnear Coleman here with a good pull, and Bryson McGee, really tough to bring down, even though, he's a little undersized. You see the pile just kind of getting pushed and him just kind of churning for extra yards.
But you think Zion gets a little assist there on those last 5 or 6 yards.
Yeah,
so.
More so than like giving him a push. At one point he was falling over and Zion just kind of caught him and stood him back up on his feet.
That's right. So end of the quarter, got to march all the way down to the other side of the field here, and the Stags with the chance to punch it in here.
A little outside zone to the boundary here with the quarterback. We tried to catch them like overloading that side that we had been running to, and kind of bring them back, bring it back on us. And I think Henry scores on a pretty easy one here in the end zone.
So Stags take a 14-7 lead and kick off Ashley Ridge with the ball again.
A little slant on third down here, trying to go to the field. We knew that every time they were trying to put these receivers to the boundary, they were trying to get a one-on-one matchup here. Great job out of DJ Thompson on the coverage. I thought he had a really, really good night. Wasn't involved in a lot of tackles. I think he only had 1 tackle on the night, but he ended up with an interception, a pass breakup, 0 receptions allowed by DJ.
So the Stags go force a punt after this incompletion and get the ball right back at about midfield.
See right here, LJ Washington's able to break off a good run.
Yeah.
Again, the offensive line, some of these guys, they're very talented for Ashley Ridge. You see 23 very quick off the ball there. Pretty close to being offsides, but really good get off. But you see us lock up, if we can block guys man for man, we're going to be really tough to stop. And
LJ's had a great start to the season, in my opinion. Going back to the scrimmage at Fort D, had a couple of nice long runs, and then the Jamboree had another big run, and then starting that one right there.
Yeah, does a fantastic job knowing the scheme and what the intention of the play is, and you kind of see all that put together right there.
So now deep in the territory here, trying to take a 2-touchdown lead.
Yep. Here we go. Back, we're going to run another little outside zone play with Henry to the boundary, the same play that we scored on before. Again, if you look, you see 2 defenders off the edge on the other side of the field. So we're kind of leaving them a gap short. If you got 2 guys in one gap, you're wrong. So we come back with that, and I think we're able to get another easy touchdown here.
So Henry punches it in, still using the old swinging gate here on the point after touchdowns, and after kicking the first 2, decide this time you're going to try to pick up the 2 with Cam McHugh.
Yep, this is just one of those things where, hey, at the very least, you're going to have to dedicate practice time to this.
That's right.
And if you don't, we can leave you and kind of steal some points.
Yep. So that makes it 22-7. Stags here about midway through the second quarter, and Ashley Ridge gets the ball back.
Yep, here they go. They're trying a little toss play to the boundary. You see how swarming and physical the defense is. I believe they only had about 80 or so rushing yards, and what we saw from the highlight, all of that came on one play, really. Right. So I think in the second half they only had 6 rushing yards.
I really thought it said a lot that they didn't even really try to run the ball a whole lot. Their first possession they had 3 passes. I expected them to come out and try to see what they could do with their line of scrimmage, but they really didn't try.
Yeah, very tough to block our front 7 in our box, but just as formidable is the secondary, and I think that kind of showed itself too. They had a tough time doing both.
So Stags with the ball again here with just a couple of minutes to go in the half.
Here are able to rip off another big run. Bryson McGee, obviously, we know his name. I thought he was about to squirt out of here and score at one point during this run, but they do a good job pursuing the ball. They got good athletes, but still a big run for us. The
flag was on Ashley Ridge, so Stags deep in territory, and Bryson getting another carry.
Yep, you see back-to-back. Again, great job here. Henry makes a good read. We're reading this end off the edge here. He's too far up the field, and that ball just bends right back underneath him, and we rip him for another big run.
So set up inside the 10 now. And you bring in the defensive end to get a chance.
Yeah, that's right. Jameer Hayward, he's been chomping at the bit to get a chance to do this. You see how physical he is. He's hard to bring down now.
Yeah. So Stags get another touchdown. Go for 2 again, don't get it, so it's 28-7 here. Just a couple of minutes still to go. That was a quick strike, so here in the second quarter.
Yep, here's Ashley Ridge throwing a little tunnel screen back here to the boundary. This is probably what you don't want to do against us, is run east and west. We got a lot of guys out there swarming the football and doing a really good job.
Yeah, so big third down and a big hit right there.
Got them here 3rd and long. They're in a little condensed formation. Good coverage down the field. They were really fortunate to kind of get this ball back and not give it to us on a short field again here on 3rd down.
Yeah. So they do have to punt after that. Stags trying to score here in the waning seconds of the second quarter.
Yeah, here we are. We're in a little 2-minute drill with no timeouts. I thought that the offense handled themselves great in this situation. We're able to get it down here inside the 30 and give Ryland a chance to kick it. Yeah. Does a really good job getting his foot on it. I think that he kicked it well. He just pushed it right a little bit. He told me that he's not used to hitting them straight, and that was the first time in his life he hit it straight. So I can understand that when I play golf.
Yeah, yeah, good point. Yeah, he had plenty of leg on it, just a little bit to the right there. So the Stags lead 28-7. The big part of that was we knew we were getting the ball back to start the second half as well. So any points there would have been really demoralizing for them. Didn't quite happen, but still, I like what you said. I thought the offense handled the 2-minute drive there, or 2-minute offense there pretty good on that drive.
Yeah, they matriculated down and gave us a chance to score points. And, we took a shot in the end zone right before that. That's really all you can ask for.
So Stags lead 28-7 at the half. We'll take a quick break and come back with the second half highlights of Berkeley versus Ashley Ridge.
The Blitz is on. Save thousands with Stokes Chevrolet Full Out Blitz. Stokes is blitzing prices during truck season and offering up to $10,500 off new Silverados with APR financing as low as 0%. Score big with EVs. Right now, lease a new Blazer or Equinox EV starting as low as $359 a month and 0 down. Go for the touchdown with 90-day payment deferral on new vehicles. It's the Full Out Blitz happening now, only at Stokes Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
All right, welcome back into the Berkeley Football Coaches Show along with Coach Eric Lodge. I am Lane Wofford. Thanks to Stokes Chevrolet for helping us out with this again this year. Coach, 28-7 lead at halftime. We're getting the ball here to start the second half. I know you'd love to go down and put some points on the board here to start out.
Yeah, the speech at halftime is to don't let up. We obviously know that they're a really good, talented team. They're not going to quit, so don't take your foot off the gas pedal. And you'll see in the second half here, they've got some fight left in them, some questionable things go here or there, but ends up being a fight. Luckily, we're able to close it out, but we'll kind of see that as we move on.
So let's go ahead and go to the highlights here of the second half. Stags leading by 3 touchdowns. Get the ball here to start the third quarter.
Here we go, third down here. Scramble, get off the field. Like I said, these guys are really athletic, and it's tough to put drives together. When you make a mistake and kind of get backed up behind the chains, it's hard to continue your drive past that.
So quick 3 and out for the Stags, and now Ashley Ridge with the ball at midfield.
There we go, third down. We're able to get them into a 4th and long and have them punt and kind of trade punts to open the half.
Yep. So Berkeley with the ball back and back to the running game, trying to go back to the running game.
Yep. So here we go. We get the ball back. We're at midfield. We're in good position. We kind of put a drive together here. We've got to have better ball security here. You see them. They're really not even trying to wrap up and tackle. They're just grabbing the ball and ripping it out. This is the first of 3 fumbles in the half.
Yeah.
I think, obviously this one's clearly a fumble, and we got to do a better job at that. The other 2, I have some questions about, but that's football. You got to hand it to the official.
Yep. So Ashley Ridge gets the ball. They're driving here on the Stags. Still 28-7 at this point.
Yep. They're going fast on offense here in no huddle. We do a very poor job as a defense getting lined up right here and being ready to play. And then once we get out there and we start playing, we take bad pursuit angles. You see our nickel right there kind of dip up underneath number 2, and that really puts the safety in a bad spot here. And that's something that you just can't do. You got to play with good leverage all the time and play with your teammates.
I do want to say this, though. Kudos to number 33, Jameer Hayward. He does this a couple of times on Monday night. He starts out rushing the quarterback, then he makes the tackle at the goal line.
Yeah, that we preach relentless effort to the football. He's exemplifying that here, and he's like the Energizer Bunny, man. He just goes until the whistle.
Unfortunately, even with that play, not able to hold them out of the end zone, as Ashley Ridge is gonna punch it in here. Their running back's gonna get his second of 3 touchdowns on the night.
Yep, they get it down here short. Able to kind of push in an easy one. Really big up front on the O-line. They do a good job getting good movement in there on the D-line. I'd like to see us do a little bit better of a job being a little tougher down there.
Yeah. So 28-14, now we get the ball back here inside their 40 again with the football.
Yep. 3rd and short. We run the same play that we scored on twice to try to pick up this first down. We get the first down pretty easily. Henry ends up on the ground. They rip the ball out as he's laying there and end up ruling out a fumble, which really is kind of nuts to me. He makes it on the ground here. I'm already coaching up guys who messed up on the field, and it's just, I don't know, that sometimes it happens that way. But like we said, you got to stand up and hand it to the official. Anytime you don't do that, you put it in their judgment, and we want to take that away.
So ruling on the field's a fumble. Ashley Ridge with the ball again, just inside Stag territory.
Here we go. They run a trick play here. We preach to our guys on defense, like, hey, we got also have savviness. You just do what you're coached to do. But when things are a little bit different and they look a little bit off, they're not going to be too off. But you gotta notice those things, right? When you can see the receivers here to the bottom of the screen stacked, and then you look at the receivers at the top of the screen stacked. Somebody needs to be alert in this. Hey, be aware of something.
Yeah.
We get them in a 2nd and long. They've had a tough time moving the ball. So here they come, run a trick play. Our middle linebacker lets the running back kind of run right up the seam. Our safety to the boundary, you would like him to see that a little bit as well. But he's the young buck of the group out there on defense. As he gets older, he'll start to understand these things and situations a little bit better. But
what you don't see, Coach, here with the highlights is that was at least the second time in a row they had run that play. So, I mean, they ran it to perfection, which is why all of our kids are running to the football on the first pass.
That's right.
Because they just run that play.
Yeah, I mean, they tried to throw in that tunnel screen. We swarmed to the ball really well, so that's kind of the counter off of that.
Yep. So kind of a good call by them here to end the third quarter to cut it to 28-21. And Stags are going to get the ball back here, trying to run out the third quarter here.
Yep, here we are. We're still running the ball well. We did this well all night. Really, the only time that we were stopped was self-inflicted wounds.
Agreed.
Turnovers and dumb, just missed blocks or missed assignments. But here again, we get it short. We miss a block here that, I'm trying to keep the defense off the field. They've been on the field a long time at this point.
Yeah.
This is one that I'm kind of kicking myself, man, we should have punted, but I felt strongly that I felt like our defense needed a break, so.
That was something I'm sure people were talking about in the stands, listening on radio. What are we doing? It's 4th and 4 here at midfield. But I thought exactly that at the time, trying to give the defense more of a rest.
Yeah, sometimes more than the analytics, you got to make a judgment call, and based on how the game had been going in that half, those guys needed a blow. And, unfortunately, we weren't able to cash in.
Yeah. So Ashley Ridge gets the ball back here, and it's just a one-score game at this point, too.
Yep. Our defense does a great job, rising to the occasion here. You see, we got them in a 3rd and long. They try that tunnel screen back to the boundary. Even if this is completed, you see we've got a retrace here by Landon Jackson, which, I think this play's probably, dead in the water as it goes. But DJ Thompson, good heads-up play, making a play on the ball. Ashley Ridge really fortunate that we don't pick this and run this back for a touchdown. Good job out of their running back, kind of being aware and having heads up and wrapping DJ up there before he can do that.
Yep, so less than 10 minutes to go, and the Stags with the ball at midfield. And LJ runner, is that LJ or is that Caden?
This is LJ Washington. Or this is Caden back in the backfield again. You can see still running the ball with success. I think he's got to hit the sideline here as he kind of breaks through. It's him and this safety in a foot race, and he cuts back. But I think he left a lot of yards on that play right there.
Still a good chunk play for the Stags. Get it down close to the red zone here.
Bryson McGee running hard. We had so much success running the ball and imposing our will on them. That I was really happy about that. This is our 3rd fumble here that they called. Again, very questionable. I get a penalty later on here. I don't know if that's in this highlight or not, but at some point, a whistle needs to be blown and forward progress has to be stopped. And if forward progress isn't stopped here, I don't know what forward progress is.
And I'd like to draw your and I hate to do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I'd like to draw your attention to the referee on our sideline who has already spotted the ball and is putting his hand up in the air to say this is the line of scrimmage, and yet no whistle has been blown. They allowed the play to continue, and then they say there's a fumble.
Yeah, something like I said, if you leave it in the officials' hands and you don't get up and hand them the ball, it's a judgment call out of them. And it's our job to take all that out of account.
So it happens. They get the ball deep in their own territory. 5.5 minutes to go in the game here. Stags still ahead by 7.
Got him in another 3rd and 10. Really good job out of Landon Jackson here, getting pressure on the quarterback. We pressured him pretty consistently all night. I thought that this was a pretty clear safety in the game. You see him land the ball is clearly in the end zone, but maybe I guess they judged that forward progress was stopped before he got there. So again, I'm a little wondering what forward progress is in high school football now these
Landon
days.
Jackson with a big play, like you said, to help the Stags there. Now got the ball deep in their red zone again.
Yep. Again, driving the ball, running it really, really well on them. And then we call that man Henry Rivers' number again as we get down here, and he really strong run somebody over to get in the end zone. Great job out of him.
Which Henry had 3 touchdowns, but I don't really feel like he ran the ball that much though, and as far as number of carries.
Yeah, I think he only had like 12 carries.
Okay.
Really, there was probably 8 of them that were designed. Really maybe 6 that were designed where we just called his number.
Yeah.
Another 2 he just pulled off of a read. But, he did a fantastic job being locked in and being ready to go when his number was called, and being effective when he did it.
Yeah.
It's a long season, and we got to keep that guy healthy.
Yep. So Stags up 35-21 with less than 2 minutes to go here, kicking off.
So what you kind of miss here in this end zone, we kick this ball off. The ball is caught in the end zone, which in high school is supposed to be a dead ball, and you bring it out to the 20. But, they bring it out anyways. They run a little reverse. Great job out of our return team being disciplined and staying home. You see their forward progress is stopped. But, again, who knows what forward progress means? The whistle's still blown here. I walk out here, get myself a personal foul, but sometimes penalties are worth it, I feel like.
So just less than a minute to go here in the game. They're trying to do it. I mean, they're not going to score 14 points here, but the defense is still playing hard.
Yeah, as you can see, we've backed them up. It's about a 4th and almost 20. Kind of a perplexing play here to throw a drag and just jog out of bounds on a 4th down to end the game, but get out in the victory formation. That's the best play in football, and get out of there with a win.
That's right. So Stags win 35-21, and I think it was one of those games where I don't know that this is indicative of what our offense is going to look like the whole season. I guess if you can run it 56 times every game, you probably will, but I know it feels like Friday night, that was just one of those things that's really kind of all you had to do.
Yeah. When you're having that much success, it's hard to go away from it. Obviously, there's things in the pass game that we see, but, when you're that successful, it's like, hey, let's not mess this up here and put ourselves in a bad spot. But we feel very strongly that we attack the defense appropriately, and we kind of take what they're willing to give us. We really like our ability to be able to run the ball when we need to run the ball, throw the ball when we need to throw the ball, and kind of take care of those things. And I think that we have a really good balanced offense in that regard. To me, balance on offense doesn't mean we're going to be 50-50 one way or the other. One game it might be 80-20 pass, and it really just kind of depends on what the defense is trying to give you, where they're out leveraged, where their weaker players are, and what we can take advantage of schematically.
So, like I said, 35-21 final, a lot of rushing yards, a lot of carries. Defense played really well. Even though giving up 21 points, I still thought they played really well outside of, one big long play, and then they got put back on their heels a couple times, maybe by turnovers. So go ahead with your player of the game.
Yeah, obviously, big shout out to a lot of guys. I thought the O-line was fantastic as a whole. Henry did a really good job every time we called his number. I think he managed the game very good. When we asked him to throw, he was great with his reads, great situationally, ran the ball very strongly. The backs all had a really good game. Yeah. They kind of did that by committee. The defense played very well as a whole, but to me, Landon Jackson stood out, and the way he affected the game, both in their run game and getting pressure on the quarterback in the pass game, to me, that's my player of the game.
Yeah, Landon does a phenomenal job, it seems like, week in and week out, of just disrupting plays. Whether he actually makes the tackle or makes the play or not, he's causing something to happen on that play.
Very tough. Obviously, not the tallest, but, his leverage, just makes him hard to deal with. Very quick and strong. His wrestling background probably helps him out with that. But, he benches 365 pounds, and he's tough to block now. He gives our offense fits when we try to do it in practice.
So I hear. Unfortunate he's a senior because I'd like to know what number he'd wear next year. If you didn't know, Landon's wearing number 5 this year. So not that he's hard to pick out, but so it'd be interesting to see what number he'd wear next year. Since
he's at a different number every single year.
That's right. So Stags win week 1, short week now. You had to come back and practice the next day. You only get 3 practices now to prepare for Winter Park coming in this week.
Yep. Our theme for the week in our Champions Manual with the boys is success in adversity. Started the week with success, but adversity is facing us here with a quick turnaround against a really good quality opponent with really good athletes. They've had a full week to prepare. We've had 3 days, but I think that we're equipped and we're ready for the challenge.
Last year, at one point, we had lost like 4 games by a total of 18 points, something crazy like that. Winter Park was one of those games. Long drive down to Orlando, a game that could have gone either way. We had a chance there at the end. Anytime you can throw the ball into the end zone with the chance to win, you feel like you put yourself in a good spot. So a tough loss. Now you're playing that team again this year. We've got pretty much everybody back. I don't know what all they have back. What do you know about them coming in?
Yeah, they've got pretty much everybody back. All their heavy hitters are still the same guys. Both teams, I think, are in better spots than they were the year before. So I'm looking for a very similar type game. If we can cut out some of the mistakes that we had deep in the red zone going in to score, I like our chances to come out on top.
So Berkeley's home opener this Friday night against Winter Park, 7:30 here at Gerald Moody Field. For Coach Eric Lodge, I'm Lane Walford. Thank you for tuning in to Week 1 of the Berkeley Football Coaches Show, presented by Stokes Chevrolet.
Go Stags.